Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Jobinar. My name is Jody, and I'm on the Workamper News team over here. And today we are with Patrick. He is an HR representative with Delaware North at Yellowstone, and they're doing recruiting for the Yellowstone General Stores for their upcoming summer season. So Patrick's online today. He's going to give you all of the ins and outs of the opportunities that they have available. And so he'll show you pictures and give you information on the screen. And once he gets through his presentation, then we'll be happy to take questions from those of you who are online with us. So if you are online, in your control panel there that you see, there should be a box where you can type in any questions that you have. So once we get to the Q&A portion, I'll read through those questions and we'll try to get as many questions answered as we can. We usually run these about an hour. So we are recording this. So if you guys have to, jump out early or whatnot, you will receive an email with a link to the recording. And once you guys do receive that email, if you have any other RVing friends or other folks that you think might be interested in these great opportunities to live and work in Yellowstone, we definitely encourage you to share the link to the recording on, okay? So I think that's all the housekeeping we need to take care of. So without further
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for having me. Like she said, my name is Patrick. I work in the HR department for Delaware North, and specifically I recruit for Yellowstone National Park and the general stores. So I just want to say welcome. I'm glad you've joined us today to learn more about Yellowstone. I hope to be able to answer any questions you may have, and if you don't during the presentation, I hope to answer them during the Q&A segment as much as I can. So the point of this presentation is to give you all an idea of what it's like to work and live in Yellowstone National Park. So why work in Yellowstone? You ask, well, here on the screen you can see a few reasons of why you might enjoy working and living in Yellowstone. So Yellowstone National Park, it's very scenic and it's a very beautiful place, and our associates find that it has very scenic views as well as the wildlife, and then we have hiking trails, fishing, things of that nature. So that's some of the things that people like to do when they come out to Yellowstone. So there's a lot of stuff to go over, so we'll go over Delaware North, who we are, and we'll talk about the stores, we'll talk about you guys, the associates, a little bit how we live, work, and play, and then ultimately we'll talk about how to apply. So Delaware North, we're a global leader in hospitality and food service. As you can see by the slide, we operate in the lodging, sporting, airport, and gaming and entertainment industries. We are one of the largest privately held companies in the United States. We have over 60,000 talented associates, and that number is always growing. We have a variety of subsidiaries that provide different services. As you can see on the screen, they range from gaming and entertainment, gaming hospitality, sports service, travel hospitality. We have the Boston Bruins, and we have international ventures as well, but today we're going to talk about parks and resorts. And in addition to Yellowstone, Delaware North provides recreational guest services in some of the most beautiful and interesting areas in the country, including Sequoia and Kings Canyon. We operate in Grand Canyon National Park, Shenandoah National Park. We have operations at the Kennedy Space Center and Niagara Falls State Park. We also manage services at such unique properties as the Lodge at Geneva on the Lake and the Gideon Putin Hotel in Saratoga Springs, New York. So our Yellowstone operations encompass both the Yellowstone stores and the West Yellowstone hotels, but specifically for my area of recruiting, we're just going to talk about the Yellowstone General Stores. So the Yellowstone General Stores. We have 12 stores inside Yellowstone National Park, as well as support operations in the town of West Yellowstone. And our general stores are truly general stores. We provide visitors a full array of gifts, apparel, groceries, camping supplies, jewelry, and as well as food services. Each location has its own character and a variety of features. It's common to hear returning employees from every one of the 12 stores say that they wouldn't consider working anywhere else because their location is the best. Our store dates of operation vary. We open late in April through early June and early September through early November, so kind of two different parts of the season. And then we have a variety of dates available for hiring throughout that period. I always tell people the longer you're available, the more likely you'll get hired, because we're always looking people to fill the whole season. However, if you're not available for the full season, we can definitely work with you and try and find a good fit. So always keep that in mind. Our associates, that's you guys. We bring together a group of enthusiastic, diverse, and hardworking associates of all ages and backgrounds with the shared goal of providing exceptional guest service. We have retirees, college students, international students, all working and living together. Yellowstone National Park has over 4 million visitors from all over the world each year, and we strive to provide that exceptional customer service because we want the experience to be both positive for our associates, but as well as the guests that come through the park. So just understand that it is a busy environment, but many consider that a trade-off to live and work within Yellowstone National Park. How we live. So, like I said, 4 million visitors a year. Yellowstone is a remote wilderness area. Our associates live on or near their work location. We offer either dormitories or RV sites. So most of our RV sites are within walking distance to the store, with a few a little further, which would be discussed further during the interview process. Site assignments are made by management and are based on the specifications of your RV, so keep that in mind as well. Our RV sites can accommodate up to 45-foot long RVs. All of the RVs must be self-contained, either a motorhome, fifth wheel, or trailer. And by self-contained, I mean has a bathroom and a shower. And per the National Park Service, tiny homes are not allowed in the RV park. These RV sites are not fancy, so they're just adequate enough to provide the basic needs for your RVs. The RVs have campgrounds, and we share them with Xanterra, Yellowstone Park Service stations, and the National Park Service, and us. So it's all shared facilities. The sites offer full hookups, water, sewer, electric. The electric is 30 amp and is charged based on your usage, and site charges are payroll deductions varying from $35 to $75 per week. Electric charges vary per month, ranging from $10 to $90 a month. Propane is only available at one in-park location, but you're able to purchase propane at service stations within the park. We'll talk a little bit more about those deductions, but just keep those in mind. Pets are allowed per the National Park Service. You're allowed 2 per an RV. So part of the stipulation is you can never leave your pets unattended. And then there are limited places inside the park where pets are allowed. Another big question I get is visitors. Yes, you can have visitors stay in your RV as long as cars do not get excessive and block other RV sites. In addition to that, no tents or additional campers are allowed to park on your site. And then some of the constraints we work with are the size of your RV, the number of sides with slides on your RV, and whether there are 1 or 2 working associates in the RV. So when we do go through the interview process, a recruiter should get some finer details about your RV, and they'll try and make it work for you. So keep that in mind. Typically, the recruiter will ask length and width of your RV, and then they'll ask about slides. So if you have that information ready, it just makes that interview process go a lot easier. And then for any of our non-RV associates, we have dormitory-style housing. This is shared housing with very basic accommodations. We do not guarantee anybody their own room, so there will be at least 2 associates per room, and they share bath facilities, which is located down the hall, kind of set up like a college dormitory type situation. Laundry facilities are available free of charge, and satellite TV in the common areas as well. Just know there's no cooking facilities or pets in the dorms, and we charge $29.50 a week for the dorms. So a couple of key things for dormitory residents that I always like to drive home. 1, you're not going to have your own room, so please expect to have a roommate. If that's something you can't work with, then just maybe Yellowstone isn't the place for you, but if you're open to having a roommate, then we can definitely hopefully make something work. So keep that stuff in mind as well. And then the last key thing is that $29.50 per week is for the dormitories, and then the RV sites range from $35 to $75 a week. But I'll talk more on those deductions later. How we live. So in all of our stores but one, we offer a meal program. This meal plan offers 3 meals a day, 7 days a week for $63.50 a week per person. So remember, there's another one of those deductions. This charge is also payroll deducted and is optional to our RVers. So if you're a dormitory resident, you can either opt in or opt out of if you're a dormitory resident, the meal plan is mandatory. However, if you're an RVer, then you have the option of either being a part of the meal program or not being a part of the meal program. I find that in some seasons, our RVers will elect to be in the meal program, but then they find that they're not eating 3 square meals a day, 7 days a week. So sometimes they go back and then they'll take the opportunities to do their own groceries, things of that nature. So for RVers, the meal plan is optional. For dormitory residents, it is mandatory. And then, so as you can see on the screen, that's just a few pictures of our employee dining rooms. They're located at either the store or at the dorm of each location, and they're generally within walking distance of our RV sites. One of the things about the meal program is you can enroll for our RVers, you can enroll once or not enroll. So you only get one option there. But starting next year, what we've decided to do is that for our RVers, we're going to start doing meal tickets. And like I said, if you find yourself needing those 3 square meals a day, then you can opt into the meal plan. If not, then you won't be charged that $63.50 a week. I think that's all for the meals. We'll continue here. So we'll continue with how we live. Uniforms. So our associates must bring their own blue jeans. They have to be in good condition, no holes, and appropriate shoes that are neutral in color and cover your toes. So no open-toed shoes, please. And then most of the employees wear sneakers or they wear their hiking shoes. So just some options there. Some positions may require a different uniform, and this would be discussed at the time of hire. Appearance standards are pretty conservative. Earrings are allowed, only 2 per an ear, and no other visible piercings. So, like I said, blue jeans and closed-toed shoes will be your responsibility, and then the other part of the uniform you'll get issued at check-in day. And then move on to technology. This is one of the bigger ones. I like to talk about it a little more because we are a very technologically advanced society. So if you think back about 10 years to what technology was then, this is what we have in Yellowstone National Park. Internet and cell reception are limited in most areas of the park and not available at all in others. Most of our dorms in the park have a computer with internet access, and there is Wi-Fi available. But again, it is very limited. Verizon is the better cell provider for the park. So just know if you don't have Verizon, you may not have cell service at all. Now that's not saying Verizon is guaranteed to have service in the park. It's just saying it's the better one. I have Verizon. Whenever I'm in Yellowstone National Park, I basically never have service unless I'm at one of the locations. So keep that in mind. We ask that you guys be realistic about if being without good technology will make you crazy. If so, Yellowstone may not be the place for you. Pay telephones are available at all the locations. Satellite television can be received in most of our RV sites, barring physical barriers such as trees and cloud coverage and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. The next thing on the list is mail. So most in-park villages have a local seasonal post office. You're able to get your mail forwarded to the store during your time there, but you're unable to get it forwarded back. So be sure to cancel about 2 weeks before your departure. Mail is picked up and distributed by the store manager or the assigned staff. So all that's saying is prior to you departing, make sure that if you do end up using mail there, make sure that you provide a good forwarding address, because as we get later and later in the season and road conditions start closing, things of that nature, and stores start closing, your mail is probably just going to sit in limbo, and I'd hate for you to lose anything important. So keep that in mind when it comes to mail. And then at MedCore, as you can see on the screen, $7.70. So we've already talked about 2 deductions. We've talked about housing, which is either dormitory or RV site, and we've talked about the meal plan. The third deduction is going to be that MedCore of $7.70. So the National Park Service requires all associates to participate in this mandatory seasonal health program. Again, the program costs $7.70 per week. This is not insurance. but it is intended to provide operating funds to make medical services available at 3 in-park clinics. Other insurance is primary, but associates receive discounts on any clinic services. Yellowstone is fairly remote, far from medical service. Anyone who requires frequent and/or complicated medical service will find these clinics inconvenient. If associates have persistent medical needs, we recommend you bring medical notes. So again, the clinic is mandatory for those working inside the park. It's just a fee to help keep those clinics available to the associates as well as the guests in the park. So they offer very basic services, and so keep that in mind. And in medical emergencies, you'll either be taken to Livingston, Montana, or Bozeman, Montana, which are about an hour and a half away, depending on where you're at in the park. So keep that in mind. So you have 3 deductions coming out of your weekly paychecks: housing and RV. You have the meal program, then you have this clinic deductions. So keep those deductions in mind. Next, we'll talk about groceries. We have basic grocery items available in our general stores, and our associates receive 30% off. Most people prefer to stock up on goods at grocery stores outside the park. We have locations in West Yellowstone, Cody, Wyoming, Bozeman, Montana, and Jackson, Wyoming. So what I find is a lot of the RVers on their day off will just take the time, travel the hour and a half or so, hit up Walmart, hit up Target, what have you, and they'll stock up. So keep in mind that our general stores do have the basic stuff, but if you require more, you might have to go off-site. And then we'll talk about pharmacies. So to receive your medication, we recommend that you get them sent through the mail order. The nearest pharmacies, again, are in those bigger cities, Cody or Bozeman, and are not available in the park clinics. So like I said, the clinics are very basic. They provide the basic services, so if you're somebody who needs prescriptions, think ahead in advance and get them sent through the mail. And then, excuse me, kind of jumped ahead there. And then the last thing I'll talk about is fuel. So diesel, propane, and gasoline are available in the surrounding communities and some in the park locations. The employee RV park at Fishing Bridge is the only park with underground liquid propane hookups for the associates. Like electric, the cost for propane is paid by the associates and based on the usage. Associates with motorhomes that have internal propane tanks can set up an account for liquid propane delivery by an organization called AmeriGas. They're based out of Gardner. And AmeriGas cannot deliver to RVs with portable tanks, but they can rent a large external tank that can receive those route deliveries. Grant and Fishing Bridge gas stations are the only ones inside the park with liquid propane, so keep that in mind as well. And then work schedules. So how we work: store services are open to guests 7 days a week during the season. Most positions have a 5-day work week, allowing you to have 2 days off during the week to explore the park. Our positions are full-time, ranging from 32 to 40 hours a week. During those 5 days, schedules and days off are set by the store managers. We work split shifts, and you'll get about a 2-hour break in between in between your 2-part shift. This allows for us to be fully staffed during the busier parts of the day. So with spouses, those of you who have spouses, our goal is to provide you with the same days off, which typically means that you will be on opposite shifts. We do our best to maintain these parameters. So I think we have a really exemplary management staff, and they really do their best to work hard to make sure that spouses and people in those relationships have those days off together. Like I said, it's not guaranteed that you're going to work the same shift, but they do their best to make sure you guys can explore the park on your days off together, so keep that in mind. Our base wages start at $10.60 an hour, and these are the non-tip positions. Some positions pay more depending on physicality and the increased job responsibilities. All of the associates are paid weekly. On Fridays, you're able to either get a paper check or enroll in direct deposit at check-in. Employees working in the warehouse or any of the hotels are considered Montana employees, and will be subject to Montana tax. Everybody in Yellowstone National Park will be subject to Wyoming tax. All the housing, meals, and health program costs are payroll deducted, already taken out of your paycheck when you receive it. So those are the deductions that I was talking about, the housing, the meals, and the clinic. So all of that money is already pre-deducted from your paycheck. So the dollar amount you see on your paycheck is that's yours to keep. The deductions have already been prorated, and you won't even see that money. So on Fridays, when you get paid, that money is yours. And then, as I said, we offer direct deposit. I like to strongly suggest that you enroll in direct deposit because, like I said, when we get to the later parts of the season and stores close and roads close and your check is it's a paper check in the mail, it can be really hard to get that check back and then sent to you in a timely manner. So keep that in mind. I always suggest direct deposit is the best way to receive your money. I'm not saying you won't receive your money if you have a paper check, but the direct deposit makes it a lot easier, and we're not waiting on the postal service to either return mail and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. So our jobs are primarily retail and food service positions, but they also include custodial, warehouse, and receiving associates. We have auditors and employee dining room staff. We hire people for specific positions, but those positions have broad job duties. For example, a cashier may also stock shelves and clean the shelves. So when if you're a cashier and we're in the shoulder parts of the season where it's really quiet and slow and you're not constantly working at the cash register, you may be asked to do some of that general housekeeping or stock some shelves. So keep that in mind. When we send out job descriptions and talk about the interview, we'll hit more on that, but just know that your responsibilities may be outside the scope of your primary job, and that's just to make sure that the store is upkept and everything's in good order. And so we'll talk about a little bit of the requirements for our jobs. So first and foremost, flexibility and willingness to work as a team. We are a very team-oriented organization, and that's just how we work. It's successful. If one person's struggling, we all struggle, and you'll find that your fellow associates in the stores are willing to help, and nobody's left to struggle on their own, so we take pride in that. We have minimal physical requirements, and that's being able to stand for long periods of time, bend, stoop, kneel, and yes, sometimes you may be required to climb some stairs, and then as well as you'll be asked to carry up to 30 to 50 pounds, so keep that in mind. And then all of our stores are located at an altitude from 6,000 to 8,000. So if you're unsure if you can live and work in that altitude, be sure to speak with any medical professions that you may want to seek. I find that our sea level folks, the first couple of weeks they're in Yellowstone National Park, they're adjusting to the altitude, and it can sometimes be a little hard, but nothing crazy has ever happened. So, and then per the National Park Service, all associates must pass a background check, and that includes all it does is searches for outstanding warrants, things of that nature. So so when we do the hiring process, if you are offered a job prior to being fully employed, you will be asked to consent to a background check. So if a background check is something that isn't for you, then maybe coming out to Yellowstone may not be either. So keep that in mind that you will have to consent to a background check when coming to Yellowstone. And then I know the screen says drug tests, but we do not do drug tests anymore. We only do drug tests when we have cause. So part of the pre-employment process will only include a background check, no drug tests. How we play. So we have hiking, fishing, camping. We have co-op sports, and then the Park Service has programs. So a lot of people on their days off, we have over 1,000 miles worth of hiking trails, and if you're able to, a lot of people like to spend their time in doing that. The Yellowstone Co-op Employee Recreation Program is a free service to in-park employees that offers trips around the park. They do hiking and backpacking trips. They do rafting trips. They hold sporting events. There's talent shows. There's photo contests, and so much more. So kind of a recreational aspect. We expect our associates to work hard, but we also want to give time for that recreational aspect of it, so that you're not constantly working. You're inside Yellowstone National Park. We want you to enjoy Yellowstone National Park because it's one of the most beautiful places on earth, and we want you to see it. So keep that in mind. In addition, the National Park Service offers interpretive programs, and the interpretive programs offered by the park include campground presentations, guided ranger walks and talks. There's a visitor museum. It's generally free of charge. The Yellowstone Forever offers educational programs in addition to the National Park Service programs. These are actual classroom and field studies. There can be a cost to attend these, but sometimes they offer employee discounts. So a lot to do in Yellowstone when you're not working, and we always suggest that our employees take advantage of that. And then our benefits. Everybody likes benefits. So some benefits include waking up in Yellowstone every morning and being able to experience the different climates that Yellowstone has to offer. All of our associates receive 30% discount on gift, apparel, and grocery items in the stores. This discount does not apply to alcohol, tobacco, batteries, or camera equipment. And then throughout the season, we will offer a 50% off employee discount. And then there is free entry into Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park. So this season, I think August was for the month of August, we offered 50% off. So I always tell the associates, just wait for that 50% off day, and then you'll get a little more bang for your buck. But our associates do receive those benefits throughout the season. And then one of the intangible benefits of working for a green company, being a part of a group focused at all times on preserving this area that we're lucky enough to call home. So Delaware North is very green. You got to remember first and foremost that Yellowstone National Park belongs to the wildlife. We're just visitors in their home, and so we absolutely do our best to preserve the area that we work in because, like I said, we're just guests in the park, and the wildlife has precedence. And then one of our bigger benefits that people like is we offer a $3 a day completion bonus as long as you complete your work agreement. So the completion bonus, just to make it simple, if you work 100 days, if your work agreement is 100 days and you complete it, you get a $300 completion bonus at the end of the season. One of the things that was hard explaining this year, just like any kind of income, please understand that that $3 a day completion bonus is subject to tax. So it may not be a straight $300. It'll probably be like $271 or something like that. It ranges per the taxes. So just know the bonus is taxed just like any other type of income. And then talking about work agreements. So if you complete your work agreement, you get the bonus. If something comes up and you have to leave early, you will forfeit your completion bonus. And if you just straight up quit or walk out, just know that you are going to be under a probationary period and cannot come to Yellowstone or work with Delaware North at the general stores in Yellowstone for at least a year. However, if emergencies come up, we understand life happens. Just know that you may forfeit your bonus, but you're not going to forfeit any opportunities to come back to Yellowstone. So just keep that in mind as well. And then applying. So we've already started recruiting for 2020. Our basic time frame is we ask for 3 months minimum, especially during our peak seasons of the months of June, July, and August. Like I said earlier, even if you can't work that long, still apply. Have an interview with us. We'll talk about your options and we'll find a good fit. But as I said, if you're able to stay longer, the more likely you are to be able to get hired. And then we call applicants that seem to be a possible fit and conduct a phone interview. If we are able to offer you a position, this will be an email, and then you'll just log on and accept the position. And then we'll talk at that point. Once you accept that job offer, like I said earlier, we'll initiate the background check. You'll consent to the background check, and then once we have a positive result, we'll continue with the hiring process. And then during that hiring process, we'll talk about start and arrival dates, and locations, job opportunities. We'll make sure that our RV sites have room for you. Just keep that in mind at this point for our RVers. We're getting hundreds of applications every day, so the RV sites are, once they're full, they're full. So keep that in mind as well. And then if the location you want to work at is full, we can always work with you and get you at another location. So sometimes your first option may not be available, but we'd still like to work with you if you're a good fit and find another spot for you within the park. So if you are interested in applying, go to the ygsjobs.com. There's going to be a tab that says Bozeman, West Yellowstone, and Yellowstone General Stores. Just click on the Yellowstone General Stores tab, click Apply Now, and then that'll bring you a list of jobs. And like I said earlier, our jobs are cashiers, dockers, food service, dining room employees, things of that nature, and then read through the job descriptions. If that's something you like, something that sticks out, apply for it, and then a recruiter will be in contact with you if they find that you're a good fit for that position. Other than that, that's really all I have for the presentation at this point, so I guess we'll open it up for questions.
All right. Thanks so much, Patrick. That was a lot of great information. As you guys heard, he kind of answered a lot of the frequently asked questions that we know work campers have about work camping opportunities. Delaware North has had a work camper program for a long time, and they've been recruiting work campers through us here at Workamper News for many, many years. And it's been a really great pleasure to work with them. And I've always felt that their HR representatives were very understanding of who work campers are. And as their program has developed over the years, we've seen more and more how they're being flexible with their program and making it work even better for the work campers coming to work in Yellowstone. So that's really great to see. So those of you who are online live with us right now, please feel free to type in any questions that you have. If there's something you would like Patrick to go over again and repeat, not a problem, or maybe you've thought of something that we didn't address yet. So please just find that control panel on your screen there and type in any questions that you have. All right, so we've got a couple questions coming in here so far. And all right, Patrick, first question up. What determines the fee for an RV site? Is it the size, the number of slides?
Yeah, so the $35 to $75 for the fee is based off location. So the RV sites located inside Yellowstone National Park are going to be $35. We have RV parks in West Yellowstone, and we have RV parks in Gardner, Montana, which is located about 10 miles from Mammoth Hot Springs, and that's where our Mammoth associates stay. The RV parks located outside the park are the $75 fees. So each RV park offers the same basic accommodations. However, each site is under different controls. That's why those fees are different. So if that helps answer that question.
Sure, yeah, you bet, you bet. Okay, great. And for those folks who don't have an RV, they're coming maybe just to stay in the dormitory. Is there parking for their vehicles if they are staying in the dormitory?
Yes, absolutely. So each of the general stores has parking lots. The spaces are reserved for the guests that come to the store, but you're more than welcome to bring a car, park it there, and things of that nature. So don't feel like you can't have a car inside Yellowstone National Park. We have associates do it every season. They come out, they work their season, and then at the end of the season, they hop in their car and head out. So yes, you can bring a car.
Okay, super. Alrighty. And as far as the status goes, do you hire solos, couples, families? Any specifics there?
So we hire all of the above. The thing I will say is that because of the location in our lake area, we are not hiring single RVers in the lake area. However, in the other locations, we will hire single RVers with families, couples. Um, as far as families in the dormitory, the biggest or the situation I've seen is like a mother-daughter duo will come out and work for the season. So, but if you are
Mhm.
a family that wants to come out, please apply. We'll talk about those details during the interview process, but don't feel like just because you have a family, you can't come out and work in Yellowstone. We accept single people, families, things of that nature.
Sure. And if folks are coming, if there are maybe there's two folks coming in an RV, but only one of them wants to be employed by Delaware North, is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, sure. And can you just iterate one more time, Patrick? There's a couple locations that you can't have the solos at just because of logistics, but every other location you can. Can you just the detail on that again?
Yeah, so the lake area, the call it the Lake Employee RV Parks. The management at B has decided this season to have couples at that RV park just because the lake dormitories are under construction this year. So we
Ah,
won't. So we're trying to max out the RV spaces, if you will, so that we can fill the lake area positions. So that's why we're straying away from the single RVers this year at Lake because we're not going to have dormitories available, which would house most of the employee workforce. So we're trying to put couples at Lake. That way, there's more bodies available to work, if that makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And so, in thinking more about the dormitories here, are couples assigned as roommates in the dormitories?
Yes, that is correct. If you're a couple and you're in the dorms, we'll hook you up with your own room. So you don't have to share it with a stranger. We'll put couples together.
Perfect. Okay. And is there any limitation as to the position that you can apply for? So if you're working, if you're living in the dormitory, are you limited to only doing certain positions, or the same for an RV site? Or you can apply for any of the positions. It doesn't matter where you're going to live while you're there.
Yep. So you can apply for any position. If you need an RV, let us, or if you need an RV space, let us know. If you need a dormitory, let us know. But you can apply for any position. And to caveat that, one of the things we're changing this year, if you're perusing through that website and you find a bunch of different positions you want to apply for, please only apply for one position. And then that way, during the interview process, if there's other positions you want to apply for, then we can talk about it. One of the things is we get one person who applies for 25 different jobs, and then that just makes it kind of
Mhm.
inconvenient for recruiting. So we ask that find a job, apply for it. And if you have other job interests, like if you apply for a cashier, but you also may want to be a stocker or a grill cook, just let us know during the interview process, and we can talk about that stuff as well. So um, that's just
Okay.
my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, super. Okay, great. All right. And let's see. Oh, here's the question I wanted to. I'm trying to kind of stay on topic, guys, so we're not bouncing around too much. So I'm trying to organize. We got some really good questions coming in. Alrighty. So, can a couple job share one position?
I'm gonna say no. So if you're so part of the applicant process is each person has to individually apply for their own job, and then really we'll just talk about each job position, and then you'll work that job. But so if two people want to like co-share one job, not gonna happen. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Alrighty, and let's talk about RV sites. We've got some questions here coming in about RV sites. Okay, is the cost for the RV site per person or per couple? I believe it's just per site, right?
correct, yeah. So it's per site. So if you're a couple, only one person will see that RV charge come out of their weekly deductions. So you both aren't going to get charged $75. Only one person will get $75. So it's per site, not per person.
Okay, perfect. And is the RV site fee, is that per day, per week, or per month?
So the fee is per week. So that's just the national or the company's fee, and then you will have to pay your electricity, propane, things of that nature separately. So, but your RV site fee comes directly from your paycheck. So the organization Delaware North already accounts for that fee. You're just responsible for paying the propane, the electricity, things of that nature.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty, and is there a laundry facility or showers at any of the RV park areas?
So the Canyon, Lake, Old Faithful, and Gardner areas all have comfort stations. So that's one of the reasons why um, for RVers, we suggest that your RV is fully contained, just so you don't need access to those comfort stations. There are laundry machines at the dorms for that, but showers and bathrooms, if you need those, if you have an RV or a trailer and you need those, let us know during the interview process because some of our sites do have comfort stations that we can provide.
Okay, perfect. And do you allow pickup truck campers? So, like the campers that sit in the bed of a pickup truck? They are usually
Uh,
hard-sided, and most of
yeah,
them do, I guess, as long as they have a shower and a bathroom.
yeah. So yeah, the only um, prohibitation. What's the word the only thing I know you can't have is a tiny home. So couldn't
Okay,
get the word out.
yeah,
So, but
yeah.
if you're one of those people that has a trailer to the back of your truck or the camper, um, let us know during the interview process. I'll get a solid answer on that, but I don't think it should be a problem.
Sure. And something too to consider, especially those of you who maybe haven't been to Yellowstone. Patrick, talk a little bit about the weather and what they might expect. I know sometimes it can be a gorgeous day and then it's going to get pretty crispy at night.
Yes. So, very good point. I usually talk about weather when I talk about altitude, but I obviously forgot. So, weather is very huge. So, I've lived in Montana my whole life. It's been 75 degrees on July 3rd, and then on the 4th of July, there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. So I always tell people pack clothes for any type of weather because that type of weather isn't unheard of to be sunny one day, snow on the ground the next day, and then rain for the next 2 months. But typically it doesn't do that. But I'm just saying it happens. So, and then especially as we get more towards the fall seasons, we actually closed a couple stores early just because there was so much snow on the ground and the roads were closed. So we wanted to get those folks out of there safely before the roads closed up. So the climate is ever changing up here, so I always suggest pack for any type of weather.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another reason just, it's good to have the hard-sided RV there is there's also wildlife running around. So you might wake up one morning, I think I remember one work camper saying they couldn't go into work because there was a buffalo laying snoozing on the ground right outside the door of their motorhome.
Oh yes, absolutely. So and then we don't talk about it too much during this, but when you're at orientation, you're going to get some training on how to handle those types of wildlife situations. So like I said earlier, we're just guests in the national park. Wildlife, it's their home. So I've been stuck in traffic for 4 hours because there was a herd of buffalo crossing the road at their leisurely pace. So
Oh.
yeah, we get it. We understand. We always key in on safety, so keep that in mind that please don't approach the wildlife. Be safe. Keep the wildlife safe. Stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that kind of leads me to thinking about pets as well, because I know you definitely don't want to leave your pet unattended outside. And then we have some questions from some of our attendees. It is okay for pets to stay inside of RVs by themselves while the associates are at work. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we do the split shifts, because we find that for our RV folks that do have pets, that couple hours off in the afternoon allows them to go let their pets out, things of that nature, take a break. So yes, your pets can remain in the RV, and then if you're on the RV premises, they can be outside. But once you leave or go do anything, they cannot be left unattended outside.
Sure. Absolutely. And is there any restrictions? I know it would be the probably the National Park Service that would have restrictions on types of pets that folks can have or certain breeds of dog. Is there any restrictions that you're aware of?
So I've never had this instance before, so I'm not sure about restrictions. I do know that
Okay.
if you do have a dog and it's a service dog, you do need a medical note, but typically the policy is two pets per an RV. But if you have a pet or a dog, I'll double check. I'll do some digging just to make sure that the Park Service doesn't have any restrictions on it.
Sure. Perfect. Okay. And do you know where the closest veterinary clinic is that folks could take their pets if they needed to?
Off the top of my head, I would say Bozeman, Montana, and that's about 85 miles from the town of West Yellowstone. So if you're more in the park, it could be closer to 100, 110.
Sure. Okay. Okay, all right. And let's talk here about shifts and working. So, how many hours a week are required?
So like I said, the minimum is 32 to 40. We do that range because during the shoulder parts of the season, you may not be getting 40 hours a week. So that's why we say 32 to 40, 32 being the minimum. If you can't work that many hours in a week, let us know during the interview process and maybe we can work something out. But typically it's 32 to 40, and we never guarantee 40 because you just never know
Mhm.
the how busy each location is going to be. But during the peak seasons, you're typically going to get 40 hours a week.
Okay, okay, super. Alrighty, and as far as couples or families who are coming to work, did you say that couples would work opposite shifts?
Yes. How do I want to say this? So the store managers create the schedules. They do their best to make sure you guys work the same shifts. However, if they can't do that, then they're going to try their very, very best to make sure you guys have the same days off. So typically that just means that you'll work opposite shifts. But there's no guarantee that you're going to work opposite shifts. There's no guarantee that you're going to work the same shift. All they really try and do is just make sure you guys have the same days off.
Sure, sure. Okay. And as far as if work campers were in more of a lead position, do lead employees work split shifts?
Yes, as far as I know. Um, how do I want to say this? So the store managers and things with that, the leads, the fountain supervisors, they'll work the split shifts as well. And then days off will be determined as scheduled by the store supervisor.
Okay, okay. Alrighty. And what is the earliest that someone can come in and start working, and how late, how long in the season can they work for?
Great question. So at this point, we just wrapped 2019. We closed our last store this week. So at this point, we're still working with the National Park Service to get official open and close dates for our stores. But typically, it's the soonest store opens in May, and then the last store closes in November. So you're looking at that May to November timeframe. It could be June to November or June to October. We just don't have the final dates from National Park Service yet. But once we
Mhm.
do that interview process, we'll talk about um, those dates and your availability and get something in the works.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty, and we have quite a few folks who are interested in the 2021 summer season. When can they apply for the 2021 season?
Okay, so for 2021, you probably won't be able to apply until November of 2020, just because we opened up the applications October of 19 for 2020. So I'm just going
Hmm.
to give you a 30-day leeway in 2021. They won't open until November 2020.
Okay,
And
okay.
then we'll do stuff like this as well. And then there'll be other recruiting models as well. And then As we get closer to the end of 2020, if you can see that email, ygsjobs@delawarenorth.com on the screen. If you're interested in 2021 and haven't been a part of any of these recruiting activities, just shoot us an email, ask if applications are available, and a recruiter will definitely get back to you. So keep that in mind as well.
Okay, super. And folks who are working there in the summer, will they have an early opportunity to apply for a future season?
Yes. So if you've already worked there in the summer, typically what we do, kind of August, September timeframe, we'll hold a HR job fair, and that's just like what we did this year is we had you fill out a sheet that said your current position and your current location, and then for the upcoming season, you're able to fill out if you wanted to try something different job-wise or go to a different location. So we do hold those job fairs to get our returners interested, and that way our returners will have first priority on those jobs as well. But keep that in mind, if you do work with us for a season and you want to return, you need to have a positive performance report from your store manager and no disciplinary actions, things of that nature, to be considered to come back for 2020 or come back for a following season as a returner.
Okay, super. All right. And does Delaware North have any job opportunities open during the winter months?
So yes, that would be so our West Yellowstone hotels and then our Gardner hotels have winter opportunities such as housekeeping, front desk, night audit, night shifts, things of that nature. So if you visit that ygsjobs@delawarenorth.com, there's going to be a couple different options. You'll have Bozeman, Yellowstone General Stores, Gardner, West Yellowstone. Just click the respective tabs. So I don't handle any of that. I only handle Yellowstone General Stores. So if you're working for that other work, apply for those jobs, and then another Delaware North HR recruiter applicable to each location will be in touch with you. So yes, there are winter opportunities,
Cool.
just not at the general stores.
Sure. Okay, great. Alrighty. And so let's see. Do you know approximately how many folks you're going to need to hire in total?
So that comes down to a couple different things. So we're still waiting on an approved budget for next year. We're waiting on open
Mm,
and close dates for next year, but I know this year it was like 600 to 750. So we hire hundreds of people to fill these positions throughout the season. So
mhm.
I almost bet if you applied, you'll get an interview, and then we'll do our best to find a good spot. So I don't say
Sure.
we're only looking for X amount of people. Do yourself a favor, apply anyway. If you get hired, awesome. If not, so be it. At least you
Mhm.
applied and tried.
Absolutely. And Patrick, do you know how many RV sites are available for the work campers in
So
total?
each location is different. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I would say there's at least I would say around 100 sites available.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
number could be different, but yes.
Sure. Cool. Okay. Yeah. And you guys just get to use the sites. You're not the ones who are building the sites. So it's kind of up to the Park Service whether or not they can make more room or how
Exactly, yeah.
all
So
that
we just
goes.
get all the sites assigned prior to the season starting, so that's how we kind of
Mhm.
fill those slots.
Cool. Okay. And so let's see. All right. We've got about 20 more questions here, guys. So if I haven't gotten to your question yet, it's still in the list here. Alrighty. So how soon would folks be contacted after submitting their application?
I would say 7 to 10 days. It's not guaranteed though, because we have hundreds of applications coming in every day, and we just do it first come, first serve. So
Sure.
each recruiter gets assigned applications, and then they'll send out interview requests for you. So I wouldn't expect something right away, but if you haven't
Hmm.
heard anything after 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, let us know. But we have a lot of applications we go through, so I promise yours isn't being skipped over. It probably just hasn't
Yeah.
gotten to a recruiter yet.
Sure. Okay. And so let's see, we have one gal listening in here. She applied in August for a hotel position. She did have a phone interview. The HR person said they weren't hiring for 2020 yet, but she would keep her application on file. Should she just send you guys an email, or should she resubmit through the website, or what action should she take at this point?
So as far as the hotel goes, like I said earlier, not my HR jurisdiction, but I'll
Yeah.
offer you a couple different options. One, either if you had that interview request, if you have that information, just shoot that person an email, give them a ring. It never hurts to be direct, in my opinion. You can reapply for a hotel job if the applications are available, and then it's up to you really. But if you're looking for a job, I always suggest just being proactive and then seeing what the other HR department has to say. So that's my recommendation on it.
Yeah. Okay, super. All right, and let's talk about back to living in Yellowstone. So a couple folks were asking again about cell service and Wi-Fi. So if you wouldn't mind kind of giving a little spiel on that again.
Yes, so Yellowstone National Park is a wilderness, so um, technology isn't the best there. When you're at location, the general stores or typically the RV park, you're going to have some type of service. But when you're traveling throughout the park, there's canyons and mountain ranges, things of that nature. There's passes you go through. So that's where the cell phone service and Wi-Fi drop off. But typically at the store locations and the RV parks, you're going to have service. You may not have service depending on cloud coverage, storms, things of that nature. And then if you do have service, it just may not be what you're used to. So when you're at location, typically there's service. If you're traveling throughout the park, there typically is not a lot of service just because you're going through mountain passes and things of that nature.
Hmm. And so is there Wi-Fi offered by Delaware North to their associates in the RV park area or the dormitory?
So the dormitories have Wi-Fi, and then for the RVers, I'll have to double check this, but we're talking about getting Wi-Fi installed at the RV parks. But if you need that type of thing, my suggestion is just whether if you can do it through your cell phone provider, get yourself a hotspot, and that way you can have some type of internet access. If not, the dormitories do have Wi-Fi's. There's common areas in the dormitories that you can use as well. So keep that in mind.
Sure. Okay. And for laundry facilities, is there a cost to utilize the laundry?
No, laundry facilities are free to the workers.
Okay, perfect. And are the dormitories near the job sites? Do you have to drive to the job every day, or can you walk to your job?
So the dormitories are either attached to the store or they're like 500 yards away. So definitely everything is in walking distance. Even as an RVer, typically you're only a mile or so away from the store. You can walk. If you're at Mammoth Hot Springs, though, the Yellowstone RV Park is in Gardner, Montana, which is about 6 to 8 miles away. So I would say that's the only location you can't walk, but typically everything, especially the dormitories, are within walking distance.
Okay. And would the associates be okay to ride bicycles to and from their living location? Would that be okay? Is there a place for them to park their bikes at the stores?
Yeah, yeah, there should be bike racks, things of that nature.
Cool. Okay. And someone did ask, can I get around without a car? And I mean, the answer, at least it sounds like you could get from your living space to your workplace, but you wouldn't maybe get to see a whole lot in the park, maybe?
So, two options for that. The first option is make really good friends with somebody who already has a car at the park and have them chauffeur you around.
There you
Um,
go.
Option two is we do throughout the season, we have van trips that go to different locations in the park. They also go to like Teton National Park. They go to Bozeman. A lot of people like going to Bozeman and going to Walmart, things of that nature. So we do offer van trips. It's just you have to sign up for them, and we usually do a couple a week and then some on the weekends. But if you're looking to travel a lot, I would say befriend somebody who has a car. If not, you can sign up for those van trips as well.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay. And something I remember talking about before, the general stores do offer quite a bit of grocery items that, obviously the associates would be able to purchase as a customer. But something to keep in mind, and Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong here, but items inside of the national park are going to be more expensive to purchase than if you were to maybe drive to an outside town and go to a typical grocery store. Would you agree?
I'm not gonna agree or disagree just because
Okay.
if you remember, you get those discounts
The
as an
discount?
employee at the store.
Yeah.
So those could be less or they could be equal to what you would pay outside. But I
Okay.
don't think I've ever paid like astronomically for anything inside the park
Okay,
as
good.
opposed to in Bozeman. So keep that in
Perfect.
mind. And I may be wrong, but
Yeah, and it could be things have changed over the years too.
okay.
Awesome. Okay. And is there medical facilities in the park?
So the only medical facilities are those three clinics. The clinics provide basic needs. You'll get evaluated by a doctor, things like that, or a medical professional. But if you have serious medical needs, you're typically going to be taken to Livingston, Montana, or Bozeman, Montana, to get actual medical treatment. So those clinics they're there for convenience, but they can't do anything medically drastic, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay. And this is a fun question here. Do associates have access to the Yellowstone stables? Like
That
maybe
is
any
that
folks
is a great
travel with
question.
their horse. Yeah.
I'm gonna say no because
Okay.
I've never had anybody travel with their horse. But I'm gonna say no. If you are
Yeah.
that person and you apply and you have an interview, bring it up again, just
Yeah.
so we can get a final
Cool.
answer. But I'll do some research on that.
Sure. Okay. Alrighty. And let's see. Do you know the average age of your work campers?
Typically 18 to 70. So I always get
Mm,
this question a lot. How young can you be? As long as you're within the guidelines of Montana and Wyoming and national employment regulations, you can get hired. And then we have a lot of older retired folks that come out to Yellowstone and um, do that. So not really. We hire people of all ages. So like I
yeah.
said before, it never hurts to apply.
Cool. And that's something I think too that's unique about the working environment that you guys have is, it's not just a, a typical RV resort campground job where your clientele and your fellow, coworkers are all maybe going to be RVers. When you come to work at Yellowstone, you guys have a pretty diverse employee base because I know in past years, at least, you've had a lot of folks maybe coming from overseas or different countries coming to work. So the diversity in the people that you're going to work with, let alone interact with, coming to, as tourists to the park, that's something that is unique, I think, to the opportunity here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So like this season, I think we hired probably close to 100 associates from Taiwan, a couple from Turkey, Romania, the country of Georgia. Um, so like you said, it's a very, very diverse workforce. You'll have college students, retired folks, people just looking for a summer job before they go off to college. We do have the younger folks that tag along with their parents, things of
Hmm.
that nature. So it's not just one type of work. It's not just RVers. It's not just college kids. We
Hmm.
pull from all over the world, like really all over the world, and then they come together and they provide that customer experience for the guests. So, and then I know, so
Yeah.
I've been doing interviews for 2020, and somebody asked me, what do my language skills need to be? And I told them, you don't just speak English. You're not required to know Taiwanese or Japanese, anything like that. So
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty, I think you can usually tell when someone runs in and you can tell what they're looking for, whether it's a bathroom or a beverage, you can usually get them pointed in the right direction, even if the language
Yeah,
barrier is up.
you bet. Because
Yeah,
even our diverse workforce, we have such a diverse group of people that come to the national parks as well. So,
absolutely. Cool. All right, well, let's get a couple more questions and we'll wrap things up here. So for the 40 hours a week, is that a 5 or a 6 day work week?
so typically five, and then managers, they do their thing to figure out days off. So some people might have the weekend off, some people might have Monday, Tuesday off. It all depends on the manager's schedule. Like I said, the management team does a really good job accommodating to people. So if they can't, just know I probably guarantee you that they tried their best. So don't take it too personally. But yes, typically you'll work 5 days a week, get 2 days off. However,
Okay.
um, one of the things we find, like especially towards the end of the season, when the college folks start heading back to school, you may have opportunities to work 6 days a week, just because we're losing all those bodies for that position. So
Mhm.
stuff to think about as well.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. And do all the jobs pay the same $10.60 an hour?
So for all the base jobs like customer service, stalker, retail, things like that, yes, the starting wage is $10.60 an hour. If you're in a supervisory position, that goes up. And it can range from $11 to $13. If you're a cook, it can be $11 to $13. But for all the base jobs, it's $10.60 an hour. And if you have a job that requires a little more responsibilities, things of that nature, we take that in account as well as far as wages go. But I wouldn't. I always tell people don't expect to come out here for a summer and expect to make a lot of money. Like they're pretty basic wages, but
Mhm.
like I said, those wages like it pays for your dining, it pays for your housing, it pays for the medical clinic, and then stuff like that. So there's trade-offs. You get to work in Yellowstone National Park, stuff like that. So
Absolutely. Okay. And that's something that's unique too, because at least from my research and going to Yellowstone, not a lot of the campgrounds within Yellowstone have a lot of room for the bigger rigs that a lot of work campers like to live in as they're doing their travels. So this is definitely an easier way to get your rig inside of the RV park or inside of the national park, excuse me. And so, Patrick, is there a length limit on RVs in the associates camping areas?
yes, 45 feet is our maximum.
Okay, perfect. That's going to cover a lot of bases there. Okay, alrighty. And in the application process, can folks apply for a certain location?
Yes. So part of the application process, you'll pick one job you want to work, and then part of that questionnaire it'll ask you your start and end dates, what you're available for. It'll ask you if you're what other position you would like to work if you don't get the one you applied for, and then it will ask what location you applied for as well. And then if you have so it only asks for one, but if you have other locations in mind, just tell the recruiter during the interview process because, like I said earlier, maybe the first location you applied for is all staffed up and we might need help somewhere else. So keep that in mind as well.
Okay, perfect. And what's the difference between type F and P jobs?
So full time and part time, kind
Oh,
of like
okay.
I, yeah. So all the work in the general stores is seasonal work. So it may not necessarily be classified as full time. It'll be part time, and then that's the 32 to 40 hours a week. So if you got 40 hours every week, straight week after week, it would be considered full time, but it might just be classified as part time because you're getting 32 to 40.
Aha. Okay. Okay. And does Delaware North have any shuttle positions that require CDLs?
So as far as I know, or if you apply through Yellowstone Vacation Tours, they're always looking for drivers. I don't recruit for them, but I do believe you need to have a CDL.
Okay, super. And are there any waiter, waitress positions where folks can earn tips?
Yes, so we do have food servers at different locations inside the park. Um, some of the prerequisites to food serving is especially if you're a new hire, you have to have a pretty extensive background in food serving. We typically, all of our food servers come back the next year, so we always give them first priority, but it is a lower wage than the $10.60 an hour, but your tips will make up for that. So
Mhm.
if you want to apply to be a food server, just know, I'll say this for any job or any of these jobs. If you want to apply for a food server, supervisor position, maintenance worker, custodian, HR driver, things like that, you will go through a series of interviews. So just keep that in mind as well, because we just want to make sure that we have qualified folks performing those duties.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Alrighty. And let's see. Can a non-working person living in an RV use the clinic if needed?
Yes, so the clinics are available for not only the associates, but guests within the park as well. So that's why they're there. So open to anybody.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. And can you explain the split shift again?
Yes, so the split shifts, typically you'll work um, 4 hours in the morning, have a couple hours off in the afternoon, and then you'll come back and work 4 more hours. So that's why we call it split shifts, because you're not working a straight through shift. So
Hmm.
depending on so we have different hours. Um, like in the earlier parts of the seasons, our hours are a little shorter, and then once we hit the peak seasons, we extend our hours. So your split shifts will, um, like I said, we find it successful because the RV folks have an opportunity to get off their feet, go lounge around, let their pets out, things of that nature. But then the split shifts also allow for all hours coverage of positions, so there's no like blank spot in the store. So
Okay,
if
perfect.
that helps answer that question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's justification for the split shifts. Yeah. Alrighty. Is there specific dining times for the meals on the meal plan?
Yes, so it depends on location. Each location is different, but typically the dining manager and stuff like that. So they'll have the dining room hours posted in the store. They'll have them posted in the dormitories. They'll have them posted at the RV parks. So please know that it's not just up to you to find out when you have to eat. You're gonna have plenty of opportunities to know the hours and things like that.
Cool. Okay, perfect. All right, two more questions here. Is there any issue with having to move an RV from the RV park and then bring it back in because we needed to go get diesel fuel for our heater?
I have nope. So to my understanding, if you're coming to work in Yellowstone for a
Hmm.
certain time frame and you need an RV spot, that RV spot is yours for that time frame. So I haven't heard of any trouble, any issues with that kind of thing. So
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Alrighty, and then what type of new hire training is provided? Is it online or mostly on the job training?
all of the above. So when you get hired, your first work day is going to be um, spent with the HR department. Depending on your job position, you're going to go through, if you're dealing with food, you're going to go through food service training. You get a Surf Safe license. If you're a cashier, you're going to get some basic cash handling um, experience, things like that. Part of training is like we have alcohol policies, and you'll get some sexual harassment training because we have zero tolerance for that, things of that nature. So your first day with Delaware North is going to be orientation with HR, and it's just going to be a lot of training. A lot of it's done online, but then once you get out to your actual locations, you'll find that the on-the-job training is what helps you be successful as well. So we'll give you the
Mhm.
foundation of your job responsibilities, but once you get out there, typically within a week or two, people kind of start jiving and they really become proficient at their job responsibilities.
Absolutely. Okay, great. All right. Well, we got through pretty much everybody's questions there. Good questions, everyone who attended. And Patrick, thank you so much. You really given us a really thorough picture of what the opportunities are like working there with Delaware North and Yellowstone. So work campers will have a much better idea now of if this opportunity is going to be right for them or not. So work campers, be sure to contact Delaware North. The HR folks are really nice. They're happy to answer your questions. So you can see their email address and phone number there on your screen. So please reach out if you do have more questions. And then be sure to get your application submitted there on the website. So Patrick, anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up today?
No, I think you covered most of it. Like she said, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're going to do our best to get to you in a timely fashion, but I promise we're going to get to you. And then applications are open. Please, please, please apply, and then we'll see if we can't find a good fit. But other than that, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, happy work camping, everybody, and hopefully we'll see all of you out in Yellowstone next summer. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye bye now.